Aloha, this is Skye, the Soulful Progressive with FNN, the Feminist News Network, the Feminist News that's right for you. Welcome to Skye and the Pagoda Room, giving you that soulful news you need, yes indeed. And if you haven't told a friend to like and subscribe and get that soulful news from FNN, you better let them know, friend. I know that's right. So what do I want to talk to you about today? What is really going on? I was listening to Marquis of the new reporter of the Status Coup talking with Cornel West. Now, they were supposed to be talking about neoliberalism and capitalism, but instead Marquis kept bringing it back to the poorest among us that is overlooked, and that is the working class African American black women and women of color. And you know that's right. Now, we're going to take a look, because I can't believe it's only got 16,000 views. It needs way more than that, because he is talking some shit and getting personal. Now, we're going to take a look at the most important part where he keeps pulling it back, where he keeps pulling it back in to it being about working class black women. And if a candidate is going to do anything, he needs to work on that vote, or she needs to work on that vote, and you know they are. But they got to recognize, and you know they do demographically, because it's the black women voters that turn out in the biggest numbers for the Democrats. And Marquis didn't mention that. So we're going to take a look and then discuss. Really discuss.
But the focus ought to be on the black people who are catching the most hell. We love all black people. But when it comes to black poor people, black working people,
it very much, it reminds me of like some of the hollowness of some of these movements to get certain black people in power. And it's like, we need to support our black women who get in power. Yes, I'm with you. Let's support them. What about the black women that work at McDonald's that's catching all type of hell from these managers that are sexually harassing them, from these wages that they're dealing with, from all of these various systems of oppression, and let alone the black trans women that they out here killing every day, and then we don't even talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't...
Precious trans folk. Probably the most vulnerable among all of us. Among all of us is our precious trans folk. But I think part of the issue is, you know, how do we talk about vicious legacies of white supremacy grounded in the history of capitalism, going back to chattel slavery, going back to neo-slavery, which is what Jim Crow was, and forms of neo-slavery still operating in our mass incarceration regime, you see. And then recognize how central patriarchy has been, so you end up with black leadership that is disproportionately male, and therefore overlooking not just the precious black women, but the vast majority of black women who themselves are poor and working class. So if you really focus on the plight of black women, you're going to raise some class issues. Because my grandmama went to second grade. She's not just a beautiful black woman, but she's a beautiful black woman who didn't get the quality education, who had to wrestle with a life of poverty, and therefore the issue of class becomes crucial.
Legacy, in an era where the legacy of the damage done to black women at the lower classes is just like, we can see it. It's palpable. It's around us. And we do. And if we're going to support black women, then I'm going to need y'all to not just worry about the women at the top and making sure these things are important. We need representation there. But like you said, the folks that are catching the most hell, and like, there are people that are dealing with these issues on a day-to-day basis. And if you're going to talk about you stand up for black women, I'm going to need every one of y'all right now to stand up for these poor and working black women. Period.
No, you're absolutely right, though, brother. And it's fundamentally an issue of morality. And as a revolutionary Christian, for me, it's an issue of spirituality.
And I know you heard that. And what is going on? He kept bringing it back. Now, I didn't show his personal issue because that's his issue. But what I did show is how he talked about what ADOS women and women of color are still dealing with now that they were dealing more than ever back in the day because of this man in the White House and his new legacy of hate. And they're dealing with it. We're the less to be unionized, the less to be covered by insurance, the less with the 401ks. But you know what? They expect our ass to work twice as hard, twice as much, and earn twice of the trust that isn't given back to us. And it's wrong. It is wrong. You know, I was the top sales at this little part-time job that I had. And this bitch kept coming to me, talking to me crazy. I'm not even going to show her picture. But you know what? Before I go there, and I ain't talking violence, I ain't talking angry black woman, but before I go there, which means let it take away my happiness, let me suffer in the position I am, and I decided to move on. Why? Because I'm not going to stay around and let this woman beat me down for a job when I know this is a second job and I can get another one. And that's the thing about 2019 versus Fannie Lou Hamer's day. A lot of women didn't have those options to walk away from people giving you bullshit. Where now you can maybe have that option. But the sad thing about it is the women, and I'm poor. I'm poor. I don't even have an extra dollar after rent. You know, and there's women out there poorer than me that don't have that option. That doesn't have that choice. Why? Because they still have the children. They're being bribed. They're being mind screwed. There's a whole lot of reasons. Education and just flat out them not feeling they're worthy enough to get out of the situation, which they probably can get out of. But that's how they have beat us down, because he is right, Marcus is right about the point that we are now seeing what has happened from the suffering and dealing with the previous Jim Crow era, the previous slavery era, and it has beaten down the black women, and they do point us out to harm our men, put them in prison, put them in an industrial complex. Before the man in the White House has started acting a fool on the Mexican border, they've been separating children with Trump, with Clinton, with Carter, along with Reagan and Bush and Nixon. They've been separating these families ever since the war on drugs started in '73, using it as an excuse to break up these middle-class families that were working in the unions at the steel mills or had those good jobs in those factories or at that club or in that neighborhood or in that official position where before they couldn't have. And then throwing crack in the communities ruined a whole lot of those built up neighborhoods that were once well known, then went under in Atlanta, in Chicago, in North Carolina, in Virginia, Maryland, and a lot of neighborhoods. And I'm not talking about as far back as the '68 riots. I'm talking about during the time of prosperity, during the mid-'70s, when Black Power was it. Now, there was some people on Status Coup's comments. Now, this one person, Tequila, or whoever they were, said he shouldn't have interrupted Cornel West, but he kept bringing it back to the black women. So yeah, he should have kept interrupting. Now, doing his personal thing, maybe he felt he needed to let that out to not just to Cornel West, but to everyone, because I'm going to tell you, telling your truth is a very releasing and enlightening thing. And as a new reporter, he's showing you he's the type of reporter that goes deep. Now, in a lot of my videos, I go there and I talk about it all the time, but, you know, as a feminist and a female, I do that with all of my report. I know that's right. I keeps it and gives it real. Now, if you agree with Marquis with what he said, and we gotta imagine this and know this, in order to get those damn votes, Bernie, Warren, Kamala, Corey, Gillibrand, and even Castro, they all must understand, and Telsey too, all must understand that they need to talk about the working class, African American, ADOS, people, women of color, and the black and brown women, and what's going on the border with the prison industrial complex, the locking up and separating of the children, not only at the border, but through the prison industrial complex, and how they're going to help increase the mortality rates, the birth rates, and the living rate of these women in order to get those votes. And I know they need to, and they better, because I don't hear not one of them be specific about what they're going to do for women of color. Not even Kamala Harris. I need to hear that policy. And don't talk about it, write it. See, Underwood and Presley and them, they're not running right now. They got time. We're talking about the people running now. And if you agree that they need to talk those type of policies to get the most important vote for the Democratic Party, which is the women of color and the black women, because we outnumber the vote 60%. Leave comments below and let me know at FeministNewsN@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. And remember, I'm that Soulful Progressive on Twitter, and I got that rant of the day on Blogger. I know that's right. And I'm that one-woman team, yes indeed. So if you care to donate, that's PayPal me/Feminist News Network. I know that's right. And I got those feminism is for everyone tees. Alright. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. And remember, in this era of hate, you gotta participate so you can allow the women of color to uphold our faith. I know that's right. Alright. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Peace. And they better consider us and think of those policies and get one out, or we're going to need to do another Black Lives Matter up on that stage on Bernie to get people like Nina and Cornell, who are supposed to be backing up Bernie and keeping him honest, to make him honest and to talk of those issues. Not just all, but get Pacific. I know that's right. All right.